have a secret weapon.
Oh my God.
I have a mother who is in charge of building my website. She'll tell you we've been working together for over 10 years. She's always been so incredibly supportive of my career. Film Why I Love North Carolina, and this was actually the film, the drive to the beach to get that shot. I had just graduated film school. I was talking to my mom about it. I was so upset. I was like, I'm so frustrated. I feel like nothing's ever gonna happen. I don't understand why. And she said, Ashley, everything you're going through, it sounds very similar to what I went through in my career. And then from there, Pioneers and Skirts became a film. So the film follows my own story to understand what women are confronted with in their career. And that became this kind of odyssey of understanding why I was already burnt out only a few years into my career. But I can't sit in that space for very long. I just have to keep moving. And I hang my hat on the people who are supportive. I've got an amazing team. I've got a mom who's like, wants my career to succeed. How often can you have that partner in crime, literally? No, we have never committed crimes.
Not yet.
But not yet. I like to say that I poke fun at the human experience. That's my comedy. And then I also think there's an element of not wanting to feel alone. And so writing these films about connection, about this thing, to see if anybody can relate.
Ashley, we were just saying that it's amazing, like how professional you are, how everything you do, even your web page. Oh my God.
Oh, darling.
Oh my God. I was like, Valeria,
I have a secret weapon.
What?
Yes.
Tell us, what is it?
I have a mother who is in charge of building my website. Now, she's actually on the Ashley Maria Productions team, and she built that site. We worked together, obviously, but she designed it entirely herself, and it is hers. So when you say that, I then call her up and say, hey, guess what?
Biggest shout out to your mother.
To your mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
she's incredible.
does she do this for others too?
No, I will not let her go. No.
Ashley's like, oh, no. She's staying with me. Ashley Maria, most gorgeous name ever. Thank you so much for being here. I want to introduce you. You are a powerhouse. A powerhouse. You're a director, writer, producer, CEO of Ashley Maria Productions, and you have multiple awards and winning and nominated. It's beautiful. Like, as I said, we were talking about your webpage and looking at it, and then just the email you sent us for the preparation, and I was like, there's a lot to learn from her. Like, that is amazing.
Let's get into it. Yeah. I mean, it's just so important, I think, for filmmakers to realize that you are a business, like, and how you present online, how you present in email, your communication style. That's how you build yourself as a brand. That's how you make your projects happen. I mean, I know I had a production designer on a project back in 2023 when we were premiering the film in 2024. I sent this like detailed how to get to the screening, how to do this and how to do that. And she's like, Ashley, I was so happy to get your email. It felt like a warm hug. I was like, I didn't realize I was so unique. I appreciate you so much in saying that, because it's hard. It's hard to make sure everybody's on the same page, especially when it's just you, you don't have a team. It's just like, we got to make sure everybody knows what's going on right away, and no leaving any room for guessing.
And that's something you do. You really are good at that. And this hugging, like, I have another question for you, but I just want to go into this immediately, because as we're all looking into like film business, like the first steps, what to do. I've been doing this a little bit longer, Valeria too, but there are those who are listening, or beautiful audience, and that maybe aren't yet there. And I'm going to start here, because I've never done this before, with Ashley Maria's webpage. Like, just start with that. Really click on it. It will be in the show notes. Look at it. Look at how it's set up. Mommy, we love you. Ashley's mommy, we love you. You are amazing. You are so talented. It's crazy.
She's gonna roll it. She's gonna be like, Ashley. I can hear it already.
But yeah, it was, and also as I said, the email we're talking about, it was really the list. It was like, this is my webpage. These are the projects I'm working on. This is the project, and everything was so clear that I just looked at it. I was like, wow, thank you. Wow, yeah. Now I know what you're doing.
I mean, y'all are considered press, right?
Yeah.
We got to give you everything you need in order to succeed, and it helps me to succeed too. And you say like people starting out, it's like you got to be a little over communicative to tell people who you are, because it's not like you can't assume people are going to go online and read all about you. It's like, hey, just so you know. This is what I focus on. This is what I do, especially when it comes to press, because they're getting bombarded left and right. Do you consider yourself press?
Now we do.
Now that you put it that way.
You guys are important.
Oh my God. Now we have something new. That's amazing. Talking
Thank
about
you
that,
for boosting our
obviously
egos.
watching your work, and I loved it. I want to talk about something funny. I think maybe it is funny. I want to start with it. And it's a short from 2013, and it's called We Love North Carolina.
Oh my God, you found that. Oh no.
And I started watching it, and I was like, what? What is going on? What is this? And I thought it was so funny. So what I want to ask you is just like, how was it growing up in North Carolina? Because if you do a film like that, it must be really special. And like, how has it shaped you as a filmmaker? There's something about North Carolina that we need to know. We don't know. What is it? Tell us.
I was actually just talking about this yesterday. I'm on my alumni board out here, and we all just talk about how much we miss the weather, how much we miss the seasons changing. There's assumptions about the people there, but for the most part, I'd say everybody's really like supportive and kind, and you find your community, I think, but the people are great. And honestly, I think it's the weather, it's the seasons. My favorite part when I'm in North Carolina is to sit out on the back deck and listen to the birds and the wind through the trees. That is everything I look for in going back home. And I've written a lot of scripts on that back deck. I've been inspired by that back deck. It's this magical place that was my family's home. And I will tell you, they just sold that house in April. And we all said we're going to miss that back deck. And that's it. That's North Carolina. I think it's just the calmness. I miss driving. Like, if you know LA, it's you don't get far fast. And in North Carolina, you're driving the open highway. I mean, every country song is your life. You're driving, and the wind's in your hair. The windows are down. Like that kind of feel. It's such a vibe, if you will. I also worked at a concert amphitheater, so I'd have like the best summers. And I think that film, Why I Love North Carolina, it was a competition video. And it's when I first started working with GoPros. And so I had like all the bits, and we decided to make the GoPro a little person that's running around North Carolina. And we actually drove to the beach, and I say we because my mom was with me on that project. She's always been so incredibly supportive of my career. And this was actually the film, the drive to the beach to get that shot, because that's the other thing about North Carolina is you can drive from the mountains to the sea in under 5 hours or something like that. That's like our ad. That's an ad. It's like what we do. So we have the mountains and we have the ocean. It's very cool. But I lived in the dead center where we had the tornadoes and the hurricanes still. So whatever. But yeah, so we drove to the beach, and it was on that conversation to the beach. I had just graduated film school. I was talking to my mom about it. I was so upset. I was like, I'm so frustrated. I feel like nothing's ever going to happen. I don't understand why. And I was already burnt out, and I had only been in my career for 1 year. And she said, Ashley, everything you're going through, it sounds very similar to what I went through in my career. And then from there, Pioneers and Skirts became a film. And that's the other documentary I made that you mentioned that was nominated for an Emmy. And that became this kind of odyssey of understanding why I was already burnt out only a few years into my career and why nothing had changed since my mom started her career. And so we teamed up to make that film together. So I'd say, and she'll tell you, we've been working together for over 10 years. I'm like, probably my entire lifetime, but yeah.
It made me
She's always been so supportive.
What a blessing.
She's great. Yes, yes. And that film was crazy. I will give you a little fun fact. The guy in the film who plays like a fake, well, he's not fake, he's real. He's like the he makes you take an oath to be a ranger.
Yeah.
In that movie. He is on the social media for like the big like national park campaigns. And I'm like, that's the guy. So it's the same guy. He went from North Carolina to national park ranger hilarity. So we saw him recently. We're like, that's the same guy. Oh my God. He was made for the camera.
He was made for the camera. And it was so hilarious when it starts. And it's like, I'm going to talk to mom. And it's like, no. It's like, mom. And I'm like, it was so
I think that was my cousin. That's my cousin.
I want to talk to mom. So wait. And all of a sudden the camera.
And the good news is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said, I said, please say the good news.
Well, the good news is if you're hearing this, you can go watch the movie on my website, I think right now. So the anticipation is not long.
Exactly.
You can go.
Yes. I want to start at the beginning, like you said about your mother, and you said that she experienced same issues with her career. That and she's what is she doing?
She started in marketing, so she's an international marketing strategist turned filmmaker because I made her. But so it was a learning curve at the beginning, but yes, we then teamed up to make that film together. Pioneers and Skirts.
And come to think about your film, which we watched with Eva, and you also interview women from all different career paths. So it's not only filmmakers. And I guess the message here is that it's not that much of a difference. It's across all boards, right? That's what you were.
Yeah.
What's the message?
If anything, I felt like the film industry wasn't doing anything fast to fix the problem. In fact, I was being told there wasn't a problem and that women just needed to work harder or be more confident in themselves. And this was the narrative, 10 years ago, mind you. And I'm afraid that it's coming back. And I am so against telling women you just need to believe in yourself. It's like, yes, of course, sure. And then what? Because the entire industry is not improving fast enough. So the film follows my own story to understand what women are confronted with in their careers, because it's so important to see that there's so many other things in play besides just you not believing in yourself. And because the film industry wasn't moving fast enough, I decided to go outside of the film industry. And that's why in the film you'll see we go to a robotics team, because we heard that just as you investigate a film like this, you just kind of hear like, oh, this little tidbit, and then you run down that path, and then you hear another tidbit and you run in that direction. And there was a lot about like, well, how do we make our girls more confident? And so we went to this girls campaign and then discovered there's actually somebody who's kind of figured it out, and it was on a robotics team. And so we followed them, and so you'll see their story in the film. And then at the exact same time, one of my best friends from college found out she was pregnant and was afraid to tell her boss. And so here we've got this narrative of women can't have it all, So we try to do this spectrum of what's going on for women in all industries, really just women who try to pursue their ambitions, and what is preventing them. And no, it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's because there's so many systemic issues that are keeping you back. So how do we fix that? And like I said, unfortunately, right now, the world's rhetoric has changed. And we're kind of back to saying the exact same thing we said 10 years ago when I started making the movie. So we have literally watched, and I'm not just talking about the US, right? I'm just like, we have literally watched the entire culture ebb and flow and just sit back and go, all right, here we go again.
Yeah.
Sorry to bum you out.
No, but it's no, you know what? It's unfortunately the truth, and it's really sad. And what I would love to ask you then is like, how are you navigating through these waters? Because you're
right,
amazing. Like, I'm not saying nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. Okay, I know that. Yet, it does seem like it. You're doing a pretty good job at it. And we would love to learn from you. Like, how are you navigating those waters? You personally, as a filmmaker, you are.
I feel that making Pioneers and Skirts helped me to see when biases are in play. You know, unconscious biases, it's this idea that, you know, we have no control over these assumptions we're making over people. And it's only when we acknowledge them that they become conscious and we can actually fix it and change it. And because I went on that journey at making Pioneers and Skirts, I think I'm on the other side now, back in the narrative space, you know, pursuing big budget features and things like that. I'm able to be okay because these things don't affect me as much. I see them, I acknowledge them, and then I move on. It's hard. I know more, like I have students, I teach a class at UCLA and they're like, Ashley, do you feel like you haven't been able to do this and this and this because you're a woman? And I'm like, you know, it's probably true, but I can't sit in that space for very long. I just have to keep moving. And I hang my hat on the people who are supportive. I've got an amazing team. Hello, I've got a mom who's like, wants my career to succeed. How often can you have that partner in crime? Literally. No, we have never committed crimes.
Not yet.
But not yet. But it's like, I've also got a lot of women's groups where we all talk about what's going on and how we can support each other. I'm on the board of Alliance of Women Directors, and that has allowed me to get exposed more in the industry as far as like who wants to support this space. And I'll be frank, I've gotten away from the studio system as well when it comes to making my movies. I have found a community who wants to support the stories I'm telling outside of the industry. I'm not waiting. That's the other thing. You know, you don't want to just wait for somebody to say yes. You just keep going. And you're like, do you want to jump on the train? Because we're moving. Let's go. I can do that in the short film space. I am nervous when it comes to making the feature because we're going to have to raise a lot more money. So come visit me in a year and I'll tell you how that's going.
Wow.
But right now, you know, you're just waiting. You throw everything at the wall and you just wait for one thing to stick. And then you just jump. And I think you also have time. You have to take the time to relax. You have to take the time to have fun and be a fan again. Like yesterday of all days, I went to the big Wicked premiere of the trailer where it was like you watch the movie Wicked and then they show the trailer in the theater. And it's just like, it's so exciting to remember why you wanted to be a filmmaker in the first place, right? Like, I'm a fan. This is so exciting. I got a poster. Yes. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so fun to remind yourself why you're here, why you're doing this. And so the other thing is like, whenever I feel really burnt out, it's like, I need to step away and just kind of be a kid again, even just like play and like have fun and then put the business hat back on. 'Cause it can get really draining.
You said that like 1 year in the industry and you already felt burned out. What were the practical steps that you took to go back into that space? Did you re-inspire yourself? Did you remind yourself that that's why I'm doing this?
I started making a movie.
Okay.
To be quite honest. So if you can do that. No. First of all, I wasn't alone in that. And sometimes that's helpful too, is just understanding that you're not alone in this feeling can help you manage it a little better. So with Pioneers and Skirts, if you watch, we have a study that says 60% of women, their ambition drops by 60%. So they are 2 years into their career and they're already thinking, I don't see a future here. And so I wasn't unique in how I felt. I talked to other friends who are filmmakers, and they also felt the same way. And so there was something about knowing I wasn't alone and having a camera that could help me find the solution. It started out as a film, like, what did I not know? What advice do I wish I had? And then I would meet people along the way who said, actually, you walk into a space and people assume things about you that have nothing to do with you. And I'm like, what? And so I feel like, it's common for women to step into their careers and be bombarded by how any industry will treat you, because we're growing up in this like environment of education, if you just believe in yourself, if you just work hard, if you just focus on the work, you'll succeed. But the industries aren't really agreeing with that. Yeah. And so that's why I think we hit a wall very quickly in our careers and start to wonder if there's a future. So for Pioneers and Skirts, that was important to me, to just investigate what to do, like you said. And a lot of it is understanding you're not alone, understanding what's in play around you. And if you just acknowledge what's there, sometimes that's all you need. Okay, this person's not including me because they don't understand that their bias is what is preventing them from calling on me in the meeting or something like that. So what you do is you talk to them. You have to be brave enough to actually have that conversation. Hey, I'm realizing we're having a hard time working together, or I'm noticing you're not acknowledging me when I raise my hands. Is there something going on? And then after a while, maybe it's time to leave. Maybe it is time for a change. And so that's the other thing we do with the film Pioneers and Skirts is, if an organization is noticing there aren't enough women there, like in a company, you got to do an audit. You have to understand why, because all those women might have left. Yeah. And that's something that, again, that we started focusing on a bigger scale, screening around the world, which was very cool. Is just these companies, if you notice there aren't enough women in your bottom line, if there's not enough women in the C-suite, you have to understand what's going on in your company. You can't look at it as the women are just not interested. And I think all of this knowing has allowed me to just keep persevering and really just building out my own world of filmmaking. Grab the people who are energized and excited, and then try to find the funding, really, and just keep going.
So would you say that you're now better after all that and after that experience? And please, we will have in the show notes the links to everything, Ashley Maria's work, and do watch the documentary. It is really, really good, I have to say, and inspiring. And as you're saying, Ashley, you don't feel like you're crazy. You don't feel like you're making things up, because that's a little bit where I kind of then go sometimes. I'm like, am I just crazy? Like, am I making it up? And no, we are not. Unfortunately, we are not. But it's also the hope in the end. It's like it's not just saying, oh, this, but it's like the solutions, like what to do. And there was one you said, and I wrote down the quote, we all have a role to play in the solution. And I liked that so much, because that was in the end, I was like, yes, we all, like, not just me alone, not just us three, but all of us, which I think is beautiful. Are you now better at asking people for help?
Yes, that's a great question. Absolutely. I also have become a better leader in that sense. I try to create a workspace, understanding that these biases exist, understanding that, people need different support. Sorry, I just blanked on your question.
Better at asking questions.
Yes.
Not asking questions.
Asking for help and asking questions. I'm so good at asking for help.
Asking for help.
Yeah, and I think people support people who help themselves too, is that famous quote. So I know how to do, I know how to edit. I know how to run my camera. I don't advertise myself as these things. but I can do it. And so I understand what my editor's going through. I understand what my DP's going through. And then if I'm trying to figure something out and maybe I'm low budget and I was like, I'll just do it myself. I have a ton of people who are willing to jump in and just like teach me how to do it real fast because they know their time is valued. I'm very, very grateful. And I'll always buy them a drink. I'm like, always, let's go. But I think asking for help, you have to show that you take the advice, you know, like you want to make that sure that person feels valued in giving you that help. You know what I mean?
That is really important. And I think that's where a lot of us kind of get it wrong. Exactly what you're saying is take the advice. Show them that you do appreciate it. Because then they feel seen and they want to help more. And that's how we kind of, you know, the networking is. That's beautiful.
Well, that's the follow-up, right? That's the communication. Just like you said, that's the networking. Like, I always do reach outs. Hey, guys, give me advice on how you do this, this, and this. Everybody's got a million different ways of approaching the same problem. And that's where the support comes in, too. I try to get people, I'm like, get back on social media, get back on Facebook. I know it's scary, but that's where the conversations are happening. If you need like help on one little thing here or one little thing there, it's a, you know, if you show that you're trying to do something and you're willing to do the work, people will help you.
Yes. The other thing that I took from the movie and with which I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that's what we also embrace in Ambitchiously Intelligent, because this is a community predominantly for women, for independent women, female filmmakers, but the change is not possible also without men. And that's what in your movie there is a quote that, you know, men has to be awakened, it has to be brought to their attention, that it's not against them, it's just how the change happens. And that's a beautiful message, because I think a lot of the times we kind of see men as a problem, not as a solution. But if we all kind of be on the same part of the side, there is one side, there isn't like one against the other. That will help us to be in the same space and to bring up the change that we all honestly deserve. And probably it will happen faster if we all become part of the solution.
Exactly. You're not going to change anybody's mind by being angry at them. And you also don't have to spend all your energy trying to change somebody's mind. I think just find the people that are supportive. Like I think of the film that I made, Superhuman Anxiety. We had a combo of men and women on the crew. All people, good vibes, having such a great time. And they also felt respected because they got what they needed. And that was just a film crew working together to make a really awesome project. It wasn't like, oh, look at us, all female this and all female that. And that felt really cool to just make a film with people. Not that there's anything wrong with like, you know, boasting the all female part. I just think after a while, like you said, we have to work together.
Yeah. Talking about this project, it's the one that you're bringing to Comic-Con, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Can you talk about what inspired you to make it, and if it's a personal experience? Because we all, I think, these days are struggling with anxiety, and looking at it as a superpower, that's a very fresh perspective. Because sometimes it feels like it's, you know, it's your major weakness. It's brings so much, it takes so much life from you, so much time. But you're looking at it from a completely different angle. So.
Yes. So Superhuman Anxiety is a short film. It's my follow-on, if you will, to Pioneers and Skirts, going back into the narrative space. I started out in the narrative space doing like short comedy horrors and things like that, and then started making Pioneers, and then said, well, I got to make another narrative. It's time. Pioneers is out, you know? And I wrote Superhuman Anxiety as kind of a challenge to create something in one space. And, you know, two actors stuck in an elevator, what can go wrong, you know? And, well, And I didn't do a very good job of keeping the budget low. I will say that. I was trying, but then I decided to make it a superhero who busts things apart and breaks things. And the more and more I learned about how to actually film in an elevator, I was like, oh, that's not easy. Oh, oopsies. And we made it happen, you know? Superhuman Anxiety was inspired by my own experiences with anxiety, and it follows a young teen whose anxiety manifests as superhuman strength. And so she breaks and bends and cracks and, you know, busts open things. And it's all stuff. If I had that strength, I would definitely do in my anxious moments. I tell ya, like she breaks a pencil at one point, and I'm like, I used to gnaw on a pencil in high school. That was my way of like letting the stress out. And so when I wrote that, I was like, well, that felt really me. That's accurate. And then I really wanted the special effects that happened in the movie to be practical, because I wanted it to feel like she was really doing these things and it's not just a fancy button in post. And so she actually, breaks the glass. She actually punches through the wall. And then we do have a few VFX shots, you know, and cleanups throughout the film. But I worked with a production design team that was willing to try to figure it all out and figure out how to make this stuff happen in camera. And they also trusted me because I knew the edit process, right? And I knew how this would cut with sound design involved so that we could sell these practical effects. You know, it didn't have to be perfect because I knew we'd cut away and come back. I knew we would have a sound effect that would sell the gesture, you know. Didn't have to be perfect. And so they trusted me too. And so we worked together for months to actually build an elevator and then build out all the special effects. Whoa. And then we cast. The woman who plays the teacher is somebody I met a long time prior. And so we had worked together to build out that character for a while until, you know, it's all until you get the money. And then it's once you get the location that you can set dates. And then the ball just starts rolling. I keep telling people, it's like, once you set dates, then everybody has something to work towards. So and it's like, no matter, you will never, ever feel ready. Ever. You will never be ready enough. And if you wait until you're 100% ready, then everybody will move on. You know, you're like, no. So you just really have to go, okay, I have access to this house, like maybe write a film that takes place in that house. Set some dates, make people commit, you know, and then go. And that's what we did with Superhuman Anxiety. So we made that right at the tail end, actually, of the SAG actors strike in October 2023. And we had permission from SAG. We had all the waivers. And then we premiered it in July last year. And then this year, we're having our big Comic-Con premiere in July.
Amazing.
And I'm like, July is such a big month for us. It has been a wild ride. It's always been a dream to screen at Comic-Con, to have a project of mine, have a reason to be like, look at me, you know, like, hi guys.
I'm here.
And I know. And so we're building out a huge presence there. I have a bunch of team members coming and the cast will be there. And it's just going to be a blast. You're going to see us because we're going to have matching shirts. I mean, we're coming in hard. Like you go to film festivals and you do all that, where I'm like, that's our Comic-Con. Let's go.
So exciting.
But you said you're building something. Oh my God, tell us more. You're going to build a set kind of thing? What are you doing? What are you
I just mean we're building a campaign.
Got it.
So we've got, yes. The other secret thing that hasn't been officially announced is I am building out Superhuman Anxiety into a feature.
Yes.
And so as you watch it, you'll see that this is actually her origin story. And then we follow her for, 60 more minutes in a movie, in a feature. But yeah, so when I say we're building it out, I just mean we're building out the excitement.
I love it. Okay. I saw you because the way you are, I saw you just like having the elevator there, like you'd built it there and people then can walk in and punch something.
Dude.
Just saying.
Hey, we still got another month and a half to prep. Let's see.
Just say
It's a good idea.
I'm just saying.
That sounds good, like a good idea.
We're also frustrated and unhappy. You know what? There's so much like just built up rage, and then they can just go into that elevator and just like, like
Smash things.
You know what? Hey, how about we save that for when the feature comes out? And you remember how like Barbie had it so you could walk into the
yes.
Barbie thing and take a photo?
Yeah.
I'd be like, let's have it so there's a punching bag in every AMC theater.
I love it. See?
I love it.
We're manifesting here. I love it.
Good job.
That's good.
Give me all your
I'll
ideas.
give you all my ideas. What I want to ask you is, as you said, it's a personal experience with anxiety, and you talk about in the press release that I saw the video where you talked about it was really beautiful. And you said it's kind of my superpower now. It doesn't make you strong, like you're not able to like obviously like break things just like that.
I know.
Yet.
Not yet.
And not yet. Yeah, we're getting there. What I thought it was such a beautiful way of seeing it. Like how are you able to see it like that?
I love it. Yes, thanks for reminding me. So Superhuman Anxiety, our goal is to show that this is a superpower. I think mental health in general has been so stigmatized. Like, again, going from gender equality to mental health, you know, not small topics. And then in the mental health space, I was like, how can we support people like me, especially teens who are dealing with a lot more than what they should be, right? Like, it's not fair. And so anxiety is something I think a good portion of us have. And it can feel like, I'm so frustrated with it. And then it almost makes it worse. And the way I see my anxiety, and this is from years of understanding it, of reading about it, of, working through cognitive behavior therapy as well, just to kind of calm myself down, is my anxiety helps me see 5 steps ahead and plan problems before they become problems, which isn't good if you're trying to relax and have a good day. But it's very good when you're a director.
Yeah.
I know whatever. I was like, I can kind of read people and I can understand. I don't think, not all anxiety is created equal, but that is my experience with it. I know I'm a good problem solver. Like, I'm the friend you want in the escape room. I won't necessarily solve the problems in an escape room, but I'm like really good in a crisis. You know what I mean? I'm like really calm and good. It's when you get to that next level where in the film, when she's like, we're never going to get out of this elevator, we're stuck. It's when you get to that next level where you're just in what they call lizard brain mode. Have you heard this term before?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get into lizard brain mode, that means the only thing your body knows is safety, is, I have to survive. And so no longer is your thinking brain in charge.
It's like fight or flight.
Yeah. When you get into that mode, that's when it's not a superpower and it's something you have to learn to control. And so in the film, that's when she breaks stuff.
Yeah.
That's when she has to find something to calm herself down. And when she can't find anything, then the teacher comes in to kind of talk her through it. And so the teacher kind of comes in as the cognitive behavioral therapist, if you will. So this is all to say, she spoke to the student the way, like, I wish somebody had spoken to me. And I find that a lot of people who watch the film feel the same way. They, if somebody tells you to calm down, I'm like, here we go. Where are we fighting? Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it tell me to calm down. And no one does. I'll tell you that. But I feel like, I was excited to have this film out there in the world. The kids' reactions are so fun. They don't understand necessarily what anxiety is yet, but their parents do. So the parents are understanding how to communicate, how to deal with somebody who has anxiety. And then again, for me, I just have to catch myself when I'm starting to get into overdrive and then take a breath. Like when she does the breathing in the film, that's exactly what I do. Sometimes even when I'm in the theater and that breathing scene starts, I start breathing to calm myself down. A lot of people have different techniques, and it starts to make you think about what your technique is to calm yourself down. But it was just really important to me that people realize this isn't a bad thing. It only becomes a challenge when it gets a little too excited. At other times, anxiety, you're prepared, you know what's going to happen. Like, I'm the friend that's got the Advil. Sure. Like what you need. I got the sunblock. I got you. And then sometimes you just got to like go with the flow. And that's that juggle. Yeah.
And then you put it like this. It does sound like a superpower.
Yeah.
It is. I think all of us, whatever makes us different is our superpower, honestly. You just have to figure out how. You're like I, great friends that have a skill set I don't have, and I just value that in them so much. And, you learn from each other, but then you also just like, hey, that's really cool. I'm going to keep you around. That kind of thing.
Thinking, because I'm a chronic overthinker, and I'm thinking how, and I mean, I love it, I hate it. Sometimes, it can be a superpower. Sometimes it gets the best out of me, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's self-awareness and to know how to navigate when it gets a little bit crazy. Then it gets
the self-awareness is key, the mindfulness, and that's so important. And it's really hard to have that mindfulness when you're a teenager, and that's why supporting having support is very, very helpful. And then when you become a grown-up, having to calm yourself down, self-regulation, like you can kind of tell in the room who has not learned that skill yet. And I'm like, you are a gentleman, and you have not learned how to calm yourself. Okie dokie, then I'm gonna walk in the other room. You know what I mean?
I'm leaving.
It's a great way.
Papa. That was it.
Yes, exactly.
I've learned to move out of that room. That's something I would love to talk to you about, is not move out of the room, but your future projects, because I know you have a lot going on.
Oh, I'm so happy. I just shot a project called Body Positive that's in post-production. And that one is about a YouTube influencer, fitness instructor that turns into a demon.
Oh, wow.
So that one is very different from Superhuman Anxiety. And I'm actually spending this year building out my narrative reel. I spent a long time in the documentary space, very grateful for it. But my goal has always been narrative productions, narrative projects, and specifically comedy, action, horror, in that kind of space. And so I'm building out my reel this year. So Body Positive was something we just shot a few weeks ago. And then coming up in September this year, we got a grant actually to film a short film in Missoula, Montana.
Congratulations.
And so it's so cool. And, obviously it's not enough to actually make the film. So we're fundraising for that too. And the truth is, it's been such an incredible honor to work in a place that's not LA, if only just because you're learning a new community, you're meeting new people. It's like we're going to have this great landscape. But I know we have a lot of issues of like, we got to bring LA production back. And so it's very, very interesting to be a part of that conversation of like, yes, we do. And I'm going to Montana and we're going to spend money there. But then I also want to do production in LA. So my goal is to eventually make our feature in this space in the LA area. And that one will be the Superhuman Anxiety feature project. And so this year is about the short films. I have another one called We Are the Dead Girls, which gives voice to the women who were victims of serial killers. Very, again, all different kinds of projects. The Montana one is about two sisters who go on a road trip to spread their father's ashes. And he grew up in Missoula. And so they're seeing his spots in the area. Having this sister relationship, figuring out who they're going to be after dad is gone. And that one, so that one's about grief. And then again, the We Are the Dead Girls. And so I have a lot of stuff in production right now, post-production, a lot in distribution. So life is very full, and I'm very, very happy. And yeah, like I said, we're constantly kind of juggling a little bit of everything. And so I could almost say I don't have time to slow down and wonder if I'm not being chosen because I'm a woman. Because we're just moving, girl.
What is the thing, your projects were so beautiful. It feels like just watching them, it's like every single one is like a therapy piece, like in a beautiful way. Like you will walk out with, it always feels like there's a solution. There's something that motivates you. You walk out of it and you're like, damn, yeah, I'm going to do this. Yes, this makes sense. I can do it. I'm not going to give up. And that's what your work is giving us. And I now listening to your next, the future practice, I'm like, I want to see them all. I need to see it. It feels every time that it's something that just needs to be addressed, that we need to think about, we need to learn about. That is definitely deliberate. I mean, this definitely is just the way you are, I assume. That is there something in you that you just love helping people, supporting? Is it something you've always had?
You know, I I like to say that I poke fun at the human experience. That's my comedy. And then I also think there's an element of not wanting to feel alone. And so writing these films about connection, about this thing to see if anybody can relate, and just kind of building a world really that 12-year-old Ashley would want to be a part of, I think has always been my goal, my agenda, you know. My very first film that won a DGA award is called Friday Night Fright. And that one was about a little boy who is watching his favorite late night horror show. Hello. And then the show starts talking back. And so I know. And so I just kind of think through what makes me excited, what kind of movies I would want to see. And then if people respond to it, then it's like, okay, let's go. I will say the 3 projects I'm working on this year are all written by other people, which has been a fun experience. And I wouldn't select these projects in my life if I didn't relate to them. So like Body Positive, you know, toxic body positivity is our entire existence as women. Yes. And then the Nearly Departed is the film in Montana. That one, when I read it, she and I were actually in a writer's group together, Molly and I, and I cried. And I just thought, I have to make this. This is so beautiful. And, you know, that's just creating a world where these 2 sisters just get to be vulnerable, allows people to be vulnerable as well as they watch the film. Because I felt it, right? And then for We Are the Dead Girls, the woman who wrote that, Kylie, again, I read it and I just saw it. And I was like, I see exactly what this movie needs to look like. And I have to be a part of this. And so I feel really honored that all these writers chose me too. And I do think there's something to the moving train as well. I have an incredible team that wants to keep making movies. And so when you get a new project and you can be like, okay, let's meet on Tuesday. What are we doing? You know, there's no waiting. Like, let's go. Let's make this. And so I'm very, very grateful to everybody that's around me that's jumping in. And yes, my mom too.
We love you, Mommy. I'm just saying it again.
She's a producer on these films, you know. She's a part of the impact. Not every film is going to have like an impact campaign like Pioneers and Skirts and Superhuman Anxiety. But, you know, why do we see movies anyways? It's for that human connection. It's to feel a community. And so I feel like every single time you make a film, if somebody walks out of the room and they're feeling energized, you got to give them a place to put that energy. And so like for Nearly Departed, we're going to have resources. We're going to say, like, go to our website. This is how you can support people. These are supportive spaces. So I feel like every film, again, you leave that theater and you want more. If it's a good one.
If it's a good one.
So,
It's like you're starting the conversation and provide the resources so people can process it, you know, and
sometimes it's just
on the
social
journey.
media. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
No. That was it.
I just was saying it's because social media is also another great way to give them energy. Like, go here and talk about it. You know, like, we want to talk about this stuff. We want to feel involved. We want to feel together, community. That's my goal with a lot of these projects.
May I ask you something now related to the production itself? And as you say, I could hear that, which is really good. And you're totally on spot with that one. Like, have a date, put it in the calendar, because that will motivate your ass. Like, it will gonna, like, that is like, okay, I have to do this, which is really good. And we need that, particularly in the film industry, but in, you know, in life, it can be that too. But film industry, because it can be draining, it can be hard. It's good to have something where, like, this is what we're going for. This is the date. Now let's make it happen. How do you go about with the funding, if I may ask? Like, who do you reach out to? How do you do it?
So for Pioneers and Skirts, it was like every step of the way we did another round. It's constant communication. This is what we're trying to do. It's having a plan. It's showing that the plan's going to take place. So it's not just asking for money. It's having really a business plan. And for Superhuman Anxiety, I think because I had already come off of doing an impact documentary, I knew I could go to that same impact space and raise money to make that film. Let me be very clear. These films are not made fully funded. They are made with people donating their time for little or nothing. They're made with me doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes for free. And obviously Lea-Ann too, my mother, she's doing a lot for free. And we kind of supplement that with corporate jobs. You know, I do production sound. That is my day job, if you will, but I can't do it every day or I would never be able to get my projects moving forward. So, like, for example, last week I worked 2 sound jobs around trying to have calls about fundraising, having calls about getting Montana locations. It's really, really hard. It's really draining to switch brains. And then when it comes to, like, crowdfunding, we really don't do that anymore. Like, we've got GoFundMe's open in case anybody would like to contribute, but we can't really ask our community anymore with, like, these big energizing Kickstarter campaigns. Like, we have maxed out. So, but then, you know, you look for people who want to be a part of the movie, who are excited to, you know, maybe want to be on set, who are not in the film industry. And like, hey, for $5,000, you can be an executive producer, or for $2,500, you can be an associate producer. I do say, go to my website, go to these pages and see how we've done it. You're going to see exactly how we try to raise the money. Is it going to happen? Like, what you do is you have your goal budget, and then you have your bare bones, got to get it done budget. And the bare bones, got to get it done budget is usually the one you're going with, but you really try to raise that. So by calling companies, you can do corporate sponsors, especially in the documentary space. For us in Montana, we actually got money from the government there to make the film. And so we got $20,000 from them. We sent them a $60,000 budget. We got 20. So now we got to try to make up the difference. But like I said, we're going to see if we can make it with what we've got. Every little bit helps. Again, if you are a director who is afraid of budgeting, you're probably not going to get any of your films made. You have to be willing to put on the producer hat too. Or, my gosh, if you get a producer who really wants to partner with you on your projects, you tell me how you do it. Like, I'm so jealous of you. You know, I know. I'm like, because I run my budget. You know, I run everything. And I'm not afraid of it. I'd rather do that because you work really hard for that money. I want to know where it's going. So, So there's the corporation side, there's the organization side, nonprofit, going really just, I've made phone calls. I've literally just called people and let them know what we're trying to do. You can associate with a nonprofit to make in-kind donations a possibility. Are you familiar with those?
I'm not.
So that means if, like, we had a Pioneers and Skirts film shoot in Boulder, Colorado, and we had the hotel donated for our crew, and we had the food donated, groceries donated. So the only thing we paid for that week was kit fees and flights. And again, that's because a lot of people were willing to work for free, either A, because it was exciting, there was a film coming into town, or B, and this is something I do, we trade, we barter. So my friend who was the DP on that shoot, I did sound for her. And that's how we would barter. I would do sound on her project. So learning a tech skill that then can be bartered or can help you with the funding, being willing to call and get these in-kind donations. We were associated with a nonprofit, which means they gave us their fiscal sponsorship. So people can write off their donations to us in their taxes.
Nice.
I'm giving you everything, girl. I got you.
Love it.
So I'm like, what
Thank
else
you.
is there? Are you writing all this down?
We are recording.
Yes.
Well,
Even better.
yeah, the person at home, are you writing this down? But it's really just coming at it from so many different angles. Like, we apply to grants. My gosh, have we ever gotten one? Like,
Well, now
maybe
you did.
one,
Now you did.
right?
You just got one right.
You're right. The Montana film grant. Yes, ma'am. You
Celebrate
are right.
that.
When we got that call, oh my gosh, I tell you what.
Tell me. I want to know because I would have been, I know how I am. I would have been jumping up and down and screaming. I would have been like,
Yeah. So Molly, the writer, is the one. It was like submitted under her name. And we had been together wanting to make this project for like 2 years, applying to all kinds of grants. Like, you know, first it was based in California, and so we're applying to a bunch of California-based projects. And then my friend told me about this Montana grant possibility, and I said, do you want to rewrite it for Montana? And so she did. And then we got the email in like June last year. And she called me and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, we got it. And I'm like, what? And so I was like jumping up and down right there, like right behind me. And just going, oh my God. And here's where the anxiety comes in. I'm now 5 steps ahead going, oh my God, we have to make this film in Montana. Because I didn't know anybody. And she just kept saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this film. And, you know, it's based on her own experiences when her own father passed away. And so I also feel there's like this respect there where I'm like, okay, girl, we're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
And it's just kind of fallen into place that we've met people. But yeah, we've, and like built out a crew and like built out a community there. But I will say we don't walk in going, we're from LA. Hey, like they don't care. They do not care. You got to be respectful when you're filming in other states here in the US. Yeah, so we screamed. And then it was like I had to register my business in Montana. Oh my gosh. What am I? So that's what I'm saying. If you're a director, you gotta, if you want your projects to move forward and you feel solo, you gotta be
hustle.
comfortable. Yeah, you gotta be comfortable with the money.
Yeah.
Yes.
One tiny thing.
How did you learn? Sorry, how did you learn this? Because I mean, I know that you go to school, but that comes from practical experience, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Pioneers and Skirts taught me everything.
Okay.
You know, everything. I managed a budget that way. I built out my business. I think starting out with such a impactful film helped me get the resources I needed to understand how to build out a career here. People would contribute their time because they knew we were trying to do something right. And they would teach me, like I said, how to do my taxes the right way, how to build out an LLC. People would take the time because they knew we were doing something that was, you know, important. was draining. It was very, very hard. But I learned it all, I think, on Pioneers. Like, but then when it was time to go back into the narrative space, I was really scared. I was like, God, I haven't done this in so long. What do I do? I said, I felt like I did need a producer who understood that world. Again, my mom is a part of these things, but she's more on the idea creative side. She didn't have experience in all this budgeting and like, you know, scheduling and like all that stuff that some producers do. And I'm like, I just don't know. And da, da, da. So I go to Alliance of Women Directors, and I'm in this meeting, and it's this work in progress meeting. And they said, you know, what do you guys need? What's, you know, how can we help each other? Because it's something we do once a month. And I said, I just need a teammate. I need somebody who understands this world, who can jump in and just help me. And I will tell you, I found the producer on Superhuman, Melissa, who is now one of my best partners in all this stuff, because she jumped in and was like, let's just make it. Let's figure this out. And I was like, that was the energy I needed, because I was really nervous. Like I hadn't done a call sheet in forever. I just didn't know what kind of the crew was anymore. It'd just been so long. And so she just kind of came in and helped talk me through stuff. And you know, I knew a lot of it. I just needed that confirmation too. So she was very, very supportive. So how did I learn all this stuff? Literally by doing and asking and putting myself out there. You go to these networking events with that one thing you're trying to learn or discover or meet. That's how.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that, because that's the only way, I think, especially in this industry.
You go to school, I think, to just kind of figure out who you are as a filmmaker a little bit. Like you figure out your voice a bit. I know I went to USC Film School, and that's where I made Friday Night Fright. And before I went to film school, I didn't think I was a good director because nobody understood my humor, I realized. And then I went to USC Film School, and that's where I had a professor who said, oh, Ashley, you're just weird. Just embrace it. Cool. And then that's when I made, I was like, okay. And that's when I made Friday Night Fright, and then won the DGA award. I was like, okay, I guess I'll do this. Yeah, I think it's where you meet some of your collaborators. It's how you get kind of like a base. I mean, if you go to a proper film school, I'd say, I think there's some places where they're like, you can make movies here. And I'm like, well, USC, NYU, you know, these top-notch schools, they're expensive, but you learn how to do the basics right and make, you know, understand story, understand your own style. And then you really, really learn it on the day, on the job, you know?
So true. So true. It doesn't matter what role you have when you're in the film industry. If it's an actor, producer, writer, director, it is really that. It's taking the steps. And realizing like the importance of teamwork. So important.
Absolutely. It can feel really lonely when you're staring at your computer all day. And so you got to go out into the world or go on a podcast.
Or come on a podcast. Thank you.
Whatever,
it's good. And I love what you said with that he told you that you are, what did he say? I'm not even going to say it.
I don't know.
What
did I say?
Whatever.
Oh, I'm weird.
I'm not gonna say that. I don't think you're weird.
Oh, you don't like that?
No, I don't think you're weird. I think
weird.
you're amazing. I think you're funny. I don't know why would he say you're weird? I mean, I think it's kind of cool.
Your humor is weird.
Your humor is weird. Okay.
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah, you're not weird. Or we're all weird.
Oh,
we're all.
I don't mind.
That's what Lea and I are always saying. We're like, we're fucked up. We're like,
that's what we're saying most days. We're like, we're two walking red flags, but like, whatever.
You know? So crazy.
Well, and like, if I'm not weird, I don't want to be right. You know, like, I'm like, it's
weird is cool.
Yeah. But I love what he was saying is that in the sense of embrace it. Embrace it.
And once I embrace that weird sense of humor, you know, and you find the people who get it, you're good. You keep going.
And that's what it is. It's not looking for those that don't want or they're, you know what I mean? There's so many naysayers there. It's there anyways. There are going to be enough people that if you're in the public eye, which you are, they're going to have their opinions. But it's finding your people. It's finding those that want to create with you, that love it, enjoy it, want to, say something important as you have been doing with your projects. And I think that's the message that I'm taking with me. It's like really look for your crowd.
And so for me, the next big step is also to get representation. And so I'm looking for the people who respect the weird in that space too. But again, that's all your voice. That's all like, I just made a movie about a superhero who busts things apart, like, and she's trying to hide it. Like that's not normal, like who wants to be on that ship? Let's go. Mm-hmm. Like that. Those are the stories I bring to the table. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
I love it.
You are just...
Thank you, guys.
Beacon of light. Your work, if you're listening, I hope you're watching us here. Ashley is gorgeous. And just so much fun and bubbly, and yeah, it's amazing. Go on her, like we will have in the show notes, we'll have everything. The best way to reach out to you is...
So on social media is probably the best. In Facebook, we've got Ashley Maria Productions. On Instagram, Ashley Maria Productions. And then on the website, obviously, you can connect with us there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much. We'll put that in the show notes. And you guys make sure that you watch her work. It's amazing. It really is. And I saw your mommy in the, where was it? I saw her. She was saying
probably in the
Pioneer
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that is definitely her mother. I don't know why I was like, that's her mother, I think. So yeah. But thank you so much. This has been amazing.
I appreciate you both. I appreciate your questions. Like I said, this is the stuff that keeps us energized, keeps us going, all of us. Mm-hmm. It's like we just got to support each other.
That's exactly why we do it.
Yay, girl.
That's why we're doing it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.